Hello and welcome to BCF Women Ministries Women of the Bible series. We are so excited about you joining us, whether you're watching us or listening to us. I'm so excited about our guests that are going to be with us today from our very own BCF ministry team representing in the house. We have Minister Tanisha Hall and Talia Alvarez. And so we are ecstatic about the conversation today. And so, yeah, we're just going to go right at it. Today, we're going to be talking about Naomi and Ruth. I know a lot of us know that story, but we just been studying and pulling out some great nuggets, and I want to hear, their perspective. I know it's a short window, but we're going to pack it in as much as we can. So I'm just throwing it at you guys. Minister Tanisha and Talia, talk to me about Naomi and Ruth, please.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hey. Naomi and Ruth, when I was reading about them, boy, they went through some tragedy. Naomi lost her husband and her sons. So she was a widow, and then she was childless, right? And she had to stay with her daughter-in-laws. I can't even imagine. I cannot even imagine. Hopelessness, the hopelessness that she probably felt, I can't understand. I can't even begin to explain that. Thankfully, that has never happened to me. But, in a world where women are left alone a lot of times, not only by death, but there's so many, And Rachel, being so loyal to her.
Ruth
being so loyal to her. What is it? Ruth being so loyal to her. The way I see it is that when I went through the divorce with my first husband, the family split. Everybody went their separate ways. And Ruth stood with Naomi. She stood with Naomi. Mm-hmm. And that was awe-inspiring to me.
What about you, Minister Tanisha? What do you that was a thought, but what do you pull out of that as well?
Yeah, I totally agree with Talia, with Naomi and Ruth. It's like they were two women, you could tell, just destined to meet one another, and reading about them, it's like they had a lot in common, because both having to leave a place that was familiar, to them, leaving their homelands, couldn't be easy. So, you think of that and, just women, just perseverance, resilient. That's it. They were very resilient women, and even in the face of tragedy, and it's just, you can imagine how hard, that is. Like Talia said, losing your husband, and then within a 10-year span, I believe it was, Naomi loses her two sons.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's just those tragedies, and they remain loyal, so loyal, to one another.
And then in the times too, right? Because it happened in the time of Judges where, they were, everyone was out for themselves, and women, especially widows, they were taken advantage of. And it was just such a tumultuous time then. And these two women stayed together. They stayed loyal together. They stayed faithful to God.
Yeah.
Right. So, it kind of reminds me of some of the times that we're going through now. These are tumultuous times, and there's so many women that are either alone, who have to fend for themselves and don't have that I guess I want to say a crutch. Yeah, that support. And so their story is so amazing to me because of that, that they stood together and the way that God looked out for them.
Mm-hmm. And when you think about it, I look at how, what if Ruth had turned back? Even though the argument was a sound one. Hey, you've done what you had to do. You lived your life, you served my sons, you served me, it's okay, go back. But there was a part of her that said, not so. And there's so much,
Mhm.
what's the lesson here for us? What's that lesson? I mean, because when you think about it, they weren't even like, she's a Moabite, Ruth, right? She wasn't
Right.
the same lineage. But yet, sometimes when people are saying to go, they're really saying stay. Sometimes it could be the pain talking, the pain of all the loss.
Mhm.
Being kind, we say, can you just get out of my, and maybe, obviously that I wouldn't think that would be as extreme because she did feel she served her well, but at the same time, she may have saw beyond what Naomi was saying. Perhaps Naomi
Right.
wasn't saying go,
Right.
Ruth, I just thought about, boy, if she had turned back, if she hadn't listened to that little inner voice,
Right.
no, that lesson here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so true. It's so true. Thinking of Naomi at that point, it's like, look, she, probably felt like she was being punished, for that God was punishing her. So, she, even with, lovingly maybe like, look, right now, things ain't going so good for me. You might not want to be right up under
Around
me right
me.
now.
Right. Right.
So she could have even been coming from a caring place. I believe they were always coming from a caring place with one another.
Right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that could have been one of the reasons why it's like, look, you go back home to what you're familiar with. Go back home to your mother's house. With your family. You. But like you said, Pastor Q, Ruth saw. I believe Ruth saw deeper. Into that.
And I think and I think the lesson that we can learn from that is that sometimes we have to stop and listen. Kind of stop and listen to when people are talking to us, or and in Naomi's on Naomi's side, we also have to speak what we feel. We can't internalize. We internalize so much. We have to say, listen, you can go if you want to go, but I need you. Can you stay?
Right.
It's like, what are you really saying? What are you really saying? And sometimes we're so combative that we're not really listening to what the other is really saying.
Right.
And so that's why God has got to really fine tune our ears to listen better, because that's, you always see me saying, listening is the most effective means of communication, because the other may be saying it and they may not be saying it just right, but there's something. And if we can just listen and say, oh, they're coming from a real place of pain. That's
right. And do you think that sometimes we get wrapped up in our own little things, that we don't, I know sometimes I kind of get wrapped up into so many things at one time, doing this, doing that. And even my daughter will be like, hey, Ma, I need to, I'm like, okay, just give me a few minutes. And maybe in those few minutes, she needed me then.
Yeah.
And not, so,
to that. We do, that's and we're not always good listeners. We're good defenders of our own words, but
true.
No, that's true. Right. That is true.
Yeah.
You're like, shut up. You can listen.
Yeah. It's so true.
It's so true.
Very true. Very true. With Naomi, and I was thinking of Orpah, and when you compare her and Ruth, and it was like, we say we're talking about why did Ruth, Ruth could have said she's not going to stay, she's going to go back. So it made me think of Orpah, and it's like, it's just when you're created, she was created to go. Orpah was supposed to go. Ruth was created to stay.
Yeah.
So even if Ruth didn't understand why, maybe Ruth didn't understand why she was telling her,
I'm going to stay.
Right.
I'm a Moabite. People don't like me too much.
Look,
but I'm going to stay.
I'm going to stay. So, it made me say, what? She was created to stay. Did she really have a choice in the matter?
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
Powerful.
Very powerful. Because I guess if Orpah had known Boaz was around the corner, And that was in her next setup. She'd be like, Naomi, I think I'm gonna hang out with
I'm
you.
coming.
Longer, because she knew somebody else was in line. And then, by Ruth's stand, there's just no competition. Oprah was gone, and it's just Naomi and Ruth.
Right.
A beautiful story, because you're right. She was created. She was appointed to the lineage of who begat David.
Yes.
Whole lineage of Jesus Christ coming to the earth. So it's a beautiful, powerful story. But I think it's just what you're saying. She was chosen to stay. She's chosen to stay. What are we chosen for? Where are we chosen to be for such a time as this? What are we chosen to do? And that's why we got to be so in tune and be careful not to miss it, because we're misreading misreading this, and we're misreading him, and misreading her, and until it knocks us outside of our position. We better know that I don't care how rough it's going to get. We just better stay in position, because just because it's rough doesn't mean that's not our position.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And I know this morning in writing in my journal, I was saying to myself, Lord, just make me be quiet a little bit more and just listen. Help me to listen. And it's just listen for his voice, listen to my friends, just listen. Sometimes it's as simple as listening to the birds singing in the morning to kind of get you in, because I have listening for me sometimes is a problem.
Yeah.
But God will get me through it. And I know that this Ruth and Naomi is something that made me write that this morning.
Yeah. But I think that is a lesson we need to share with our listening audience. Become better listeners in every aspect. Listening to what you can't hear. Requires a depth of relationship with your God. It brings you to a place of empathy. Sometimes we don't hang out in empathy, and empathy is not sympathy. It's not feeling sorry, but it's feeling the pain, understanding. Empathy has a more of an understanding, supportive role emotionally. And I think sometimes we forget that we have to be empathetic, as children of God, and we cannot be empathetic if we're not good listeners. I think that's a powerful lesson for all of us to become better listeners. And I think if we did, we would stop so many arguments, so many defense postures and statements that we're ready to share with the other. I think we would. I really, really think it could be a different home life. We were better listeners, and not defenders of ourselves. I think our home life would be different. I think our relationships would be different, with not just friends, but with husband, with our children. I even, thought of the times when I could have been a better listener for my daughter, because sometimes you put on the mommy hat or the instructor hat or the teacher hat, and all she wants is the listening mommy. She doesn't even want mommy to respond. She just wants to know that she can go to mommy and talk, and go to mommy and share, and go to mommy and feel free to do that without mommy judging her thoughts or without mommy judging her statements. And, when we grow and become better listeners, I think our relationship with our children will be better as well.
That's true.
What do you guys think about, so we see her as just a determined individual. Tell me about what did you, when you read this part, you said, don't call me not Naomi, call me Mara, for the Almighty have dealt very bitterly with me. Talk to me about what you felt when you read that, She's like, don't call me not Naomi. That's pleasantry. But the way I'm feeling right now, she said, call me Mara, for the Almighty had dealt very bitterly with me. Talk to me about what you feel when you hear that.
When I first read it, Pastor Q, at first, I was like, oh my God, is she upset with God? Was she upset with God? That she changed her name. But in studying it more, it was more she was speaking out of grief. I mean, my God has dealt, my God has dealt with me
Bitterly.
and bitterly, but I'm going to change my name because right now I'm in so much grief. Naomi, I can't be called Naomi. I can't be called by what God wants. I need to deal with Mara, the grief-filled woman, so that then I can come back to that.
You look at that, it's like, do we change our names? Do we change our names back? Do we always identify with the grief part of us? I mean, have we switched over? When I think about women who have gone through a lot and to Mara, we have to go back to our original identity, because even though we go through it, doesn't mean that's where we're supposed to stay.
Right.
Right. It's true. It's true.
Right.
Yeah, I believe Naomi was tapping into, how she felt. She was being honest and open at that point about how she felt. And she, said bitter because maybe she was feeling bitter. She was feeling a bit bitter. She was upset. Like, like Talia said.
Right.
Yeah, like, upset with God. And, it's like, come on, God, like you're gonna have to, you got some explaining to do here with this one. It's a lot, So yeah, I think that's what was happening as well, just happening to those real emotions.
And I think
emotions,
right,
and
real.
Real.
Yeah, and not suppress them,
right?
Not keep suppressing them till they come out as we can't listen and we're defending because we done held everything in for so long,
We're bitter inside. We've kept that bitter
right.
inside.
Yeah.
We've kept that bitterness inside.
Yeah.
And and we should and we have to turn to our support staff. To our support. I mean, and a lot of times we don't do that because of whether we're pride, we're independent, whatever we're going through. We don't turn to our support. We want to handle it all ourselves because we're bitter and we can do it, and so.
But I also think though it's okay, like what Tamisha had just said was like that's how she felt at the time. That's a very real feeling, and being able to tap into your real feeling isn't a negative thing, even if it's a negative feeling.
Right.
And that's why the ways of expression, like you do, Talia, in the writing, the journaling, all of that, and all of us should be doing journaling because it is therapeutic. You get in touch with your real self and really talk about how you really feel. So if you're living a suppressed life, you have, you're living a life where you're suppressing your feelings. That's an unfulfilled life. But we stay with Mara. To stay with Mara and die with Mara is a very unfulfilled life. There is a point where we have to shift. And I believe she did. And she did when Boaz came on the scene. And I love that Naomi needed Ruth, but Ruth needed Naomi.
Yes.
It goes both ways. It goes both ways. It goes both ways.
They
needed one another.
And I think that's the beauty of it. They were both grieving because, yes, Naomi, lost her sons and her husband, but Ruth also lost her husband. So they were both grieving. And they were both just so that relationship was just so beautiful. It's so beautiful to read about.
Grief in different ways. But when I think about Naomi needing Ruth, Ruth needing Naomi, it was the instructions of the Naomi that got Ruth in position.
Yes. It's true.
We all need Naomis.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
So true.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
It's like that's when it comes back to that loyalty piece as far as with the friendship and with the family even. Because, sometimes, there's so much maybe competition or maybe so many things that stop that loyalty from, being centered, in a relationship with, everything is so combative, and so that can hold that, that part up where we're really being open
Right.
to be there for a person in that way, to be that person who can coach, the Naomi who can coach the Ruth,
Right.
It's like as women, we can be so guarded.
Good word. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And that we find people, I want someone like a Ruth, or like that's going to be honest with me too. If I'm saying something wrong, then tell me I'm saying something wrong. If I hurt your feelings, tell me I hurt your feelings. But because sometimes in that guarded position that I may be in, I don't know what I say, I don't know what I do. I might just say something and not know that I'm doing that. So when the loyalty and the honesty are in place, then that relationship, and I believe that's what Ruth and Naomi had. They were able to trust each other, to support each other, to be honest with each other.
Yeah.
We need more sisterhood. We need more sisterhood.
Yes, Pastor Q.
I mean, we need the young and the old and all the in between. We need to like stick together, just be committed to one another, and let the Naomis be there to use their wisdom to get Ruth to in the position she needs to be in.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a daily instruction she gave her. This is where you're going to be hanging out, doing your what do they call it?
Gleaning.
Go back here. And I mean, and she caught his eye, but she caught his eye because of the quality of a woman she was. It was like, he was like, your mother-in-law, that was commendable. Particularly because this is not even your land and you still stuck with her. That caught his eye. We want to get in position for our Boaz. We just better make sure that we're quality women. Boaz, right. We looking for a Boaz. He's looking for quality. Okay.
Right.
So it's a hard thing. And so, you hear the goes, man, I want a man, they make $1 million, he gonna buy me a house, he gonna buy me a car. Let's work on you, baby. And you can
they can't even cook, right?
Right. She went from loyalty to royalty.
There
so
you
that
go.
loyal part had to come first. She had to go through some stuff and stay loyal before that blessing, before the promise came.
Yes.
We want to skip to the happily ever after.
Right.
When we watching a movie and we forward it and we skip past all the in-between stuff, the most important part of the movie. So
it's in between, right?
The in-between stuff. We need to go through the in-between stuff. It's very important. It's very important.
Yes.
That's it. Loyalty before royalty. And boy, if she's loyal to her, I know she'll be loyal to me. If she's a hard worker, working from day to night, doing what she's doing, boy, she got some. Oh, that's the kind of woman I want.
Right. And I'm going to protect her, and I'm going to make sure none of my workers touch her, because that's a woman I want to be with.
He was already providing. He was providing for her before they got married. He already showed that he was a protector before they even got married.
Right.
When he told her, "When you glean, stay over here. You stay right here. Don't go anywhere else. Right. It's dangerous over there on that side." Right. So he was already doing his part.
Yeah, he was.
God is just awesome. His timing.
Yes.
We got 1 minute, each person, 1 minute. Just give us some closing words to the listening audience. Each of us, 1 minute. Go, Talia.
Well, I'm going to say this. I look forward to having some sisterhood and being a better sister to my sisters and to my family by communicating, not staying in the grief or in the hurt aspect of my life. I'm going to use my faith and trust in God that He is going to do that. And, I'm going to a conscious effort to be a better sister to my sisters.
Okay. Minister Tamisha, encourage those listening in the listening audience.
Yes, so true, so true. Just to be a better friend. That's what this story did. We need to be a better friend of, like you said, Pastor, you a better listener. And just to realize that loyalty pays off. There are benefits to staying loyal when it gets tough. There are
Yes.
benefits to it, to endurance. And there are benefits to it, just to hanging on, holding on to the hem of his garment. There are benefits to it.
Yes.
So I would just encourage listeners just to do that. Just hang on. When you want it, just grab it, hold on a little tighter to God's unfailing hand. He will be right there. And just remember, it's never always about us. It's never always about you. Your loyalty is going to benefit someone else.
Amen.
It's going to benefit someone else.
That's good. And just to piggyback on both of you, and one of the things just tying in what both of you have shared, and that is he was already provided. He already had the means before they got together. And so a lot of men will make some promises of what they're going to do, but you better see them in action before you speak. I do. See how they live their life. See what they're doing. Seeing how they take care of their mama. Seeing how they treat their mama. Seeing how they treat themselves. If they, if for some of you saying, boy, he's already got, how is he treating that kid? How is he treating you? How is he talking to you before even the I do? Well, how is he looking like when how does he does managing his money? And you've got to look at all of this stuff. This is not a day and hour to just jump in and then find out later that I should have never jumped in. And so definitely work on that. Those that are looking for their boys, let's be better sisters in this movement. Let's be another. Let's be strategic in our movement and don't just hang out with anybody. Know who it is that God has assigned you to be sister and to be friend, because not everybody's going to be in your corner. Not everybody's real, right? But we can be sister to even those that don't treat us right. But how do we do that? We love them. We love them. We show them that we love them. We tell them that we love them. Pray for them continuously. And just know, not everybody's going to accept you, but they're going to have to love you if they're going to meet you up there one day.
That's right.
Yes.
That's
right.
Thank you. So thank you so much, the two of you, for joining me today and for sharing your heart and your perspective on Ruth and Naomi. And may we be better because of their amazing example. Thank you for those that are watching right now. You've been watching BCF Women Ministries with the Women of the Bible Series 2021 with my special guests and my special members of the BCF ministry team, Minister Tamisha Hall and Talia Avelias. So thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless. We'll see you next Tuesday. Don't miss next Tuesday as we continue the series. God bless.